let's go back to the homogenization. There is a very famous work of yours with George and Pierre-Louis Lyons, which is unpublished. The most famous unpublished work, the most cited unpublished work in the history of mathematics, as far as I know. So can you tell us a little bit about the problem and the work, and why wasn't it published?
That's difficult to say. I'll tell you my version of it.
Okay.
But George may say have a different version, and Pierre-Louis may have a different version.
I want your version. Let's hear your version.
I think it happened, Pierre-Louis was visiting Courant at some point, and he was interested in homogenization of Hamilton-Jacobi equations. Right. I think periodic case was what he was interested in. I had a way of looking at homogenization which is a little different from how a PDE person would look at it. I'll explain that in a minute later on in a different context. And if you bring that point of view, then the problem can be solved in a reasonable manner. Intuitively you can solve it, find the answer, and to actually prove it, you need to do some estimates. Some PDE estimates are needed to justify your argument. So that's what George and I thought. And we exchanged some emails, and I sent my thing to Pierre-Louis. And Pierre-Louis liked the proof, and then he also thought that would be, the method could be extended much more generally. So he sent back within a week or 10 days a huge document which generalized it to a much higher generality, not periodic but random and so on. And somehow George and I didn't have the heart to sit down and go through it. And it just stayed dormant for a while. And if something is dormant for a while, it's much harder to bring it alive. But it's not true it was not published. I think Pierre-Louis published it in somewhere, a version of it. It maybe not as a paper, but as part of a monograph. Or somewhere it does appear.
Somewhere? Okay.
Somewhere it does. That's what I was told.
I have a handwritten copy that I once got from you.
That is Pierre-Louis' handwriting.
Okay, that's the only one I've seen in my life, so this is why I'm going back to that paper. Okay, but you said something very interesting. You said, I have a different view of looking at the problem. I'll explain it in a minute. So what was your point of view?
See, in general, if you have a homogenization problem, it's a limit theorem. So some averaging has to be done. The averaging is not done with respect to Lebesgue measure, unless the problem is a reversible problem. The problem is not reversible, then one has to be careful about what measure you use to average. And if you have in the end you want to prove an ergodic theorem. The ergodic theorem means that it's a time average that you want to prove. And if you think of it in a moving reference frame, because you're studying a particle that's moving, in a moving reference frame, then the environment changes as you move. So what you really want to know is what is the invariant measure on the environments as seen from the particle. So that's the calculation you need to make. And if you think of it that way, then things fall into place.